Welcome to Thursday Thought Leaders for BW Healthcare World. Thank you, Satish, for joining us. For all our viewers, Mr. Satish Kannan is the co-founder and CEO of our very successful healthcare venture called MediBuddy. But more than just being the co-founder and CEO, what he is doing is on a mission on working towards making healthcare accessible to all. And so let's talk to Satish on this while he's there with us. So welcome, Satish.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Harbinder, for inviting me. Looking forward to a conversation.
Yes. So Satish, first is that, like we were talking earlier, that we are all on our journey of trying to make a difference. But how has been the journey so far for the evolution of online consultations in India? What has been some of the major successes and the failures when we talk about online consultations?
No, absolutely. Harbinder. So let us sort of think about why and how it becomes important. And let's say when I go back to think about the genesis of online consultation, and we were one of the pioneers in online doctor consultation in India. So let's first of all understand what is the overarching complexities as well as challenges we have. See, in a country of 1.3 billion people, the total or maximum number of specialist doctors, we're talking about specialist doctors, we have roughly 250,000. So 2.5 lakh people on one side, or specialist doctors on one side, let's say 140 crore people on the other side. Now, this is one big challenge that continues to exist in our country, and it will only get worse as years pass by. So, second problem statement is, if you go back and study where are these specialist doctors, close to 97% of the specialist doctor. So think like a pediatrician, a gynecologist, a dermatologist, a super specialist like an onco specialist or a cardiac specialist. 97% of them are in the top tier cities. So one, we have shortage of specialist doctors for a country of our size. Two, there is a concentration of these doctors in the top cities that we have. Now, how will we fundamentally fix this challenge? Which is why the necessity for an online consultation is coming up very, very evidently for a infrastructure challenge that we have. What is happening today then is people end up actually either accessing not so high quality healthcare in their local geographies, or they're forced to travel to a place. So this is the reason why a requirement for an online consultation becomes very evident in this context. The other underlying benefits that we have is three things that happened very, very well, right? Smartphone penetration increased like significantly. We have cost of data has become very, very cheap. That means we can do a video call very, very easily. And then, of course, there's a payment mechanism that has become digital, because earlier what used to happen is, how do you make a payment online was a challenging problem. But all of these three things have actually happened. So underlying systems have also improved to create online. And the other one that I want to see from an industry point of view is accessing multiple services online has brought the customer awareness that, hey, I'm first buying tickets online. Then I started buying like on Flipkart, all my equipment. Then I started buying, let's say, food on different places. I started ordering cabs on my cab booking platform. So when I started moving a lot of my daily needs, let's say I'm buying grocery there, then what happened is they started moving one of their requirements online. So hence in that order, education and healthcare are sort of last in the order. People started doing education online and then healthcare online. So this is all what is the three things that's happening, right? So need is very, very strong. All the technology is sort of supporting that in the process. People are moving online. Then COVID came. So a combination of all of this has really changed the need for online consultation. And what also it ensures is it creates all of these challenges in one shot clear, right? One, you'll get access to high quality very fast. Cost is not very high because you might pay to the doctor, but you traveling from one place to another place, carrying somebody else, going back, the impact on your daily, let's say daily wages or what you need to do to get to that place reduces. And then when there is access very, very fast, you will not overlook or neglect important health issues. Today, what happens is people neglect it for a very, very long time. And then once it becomes very, very serious, they go to a doctor. Then, of course, it's like adds more challenges. So this is sort of what we have seen overarchingly from the online consultation space, and now it's grown like really, really well. Adoption is also significantly increasing, and we also recently launched a large campaign which is on this exact insight, which meant that let us identify our health issues early, because you have a doctor available very, very fast. You can get to a specialist doctor, let's say in 10 minutes, which means you should not postpone important health decisions and get the right advice very, very fast in a convenient manner. And irrespective of whether you're in Bangalore or you're in a very, very small town, you should get access to the right healthcare. And that's how technology is enabling all of this.
I think it is fantastic because one of the pillars of healthcare is access,
Yes.
and just the sheer vastness of the geography of our country. A lot of the neglected areas can actually be provided with healthcare
Correct.
using this technology. So that's a brilliant step. Now, Satish,
Correct.
if we talk about the industry point of view,
Correct.
which are the key players in this segment doing what you are doing, and where does MediBuddy stand in this segment?
No, absolutely. So let's look at how we started and why we continue to be the largest player or the leader in the, let's call it digital healthcare space. Is, see, we always started with the doctor first, right? So let's understand healthcare. Sort of healthcare starts with a doctor and then revolves around a doctor, and that's how you actually get better over time. So you have a health issue, you start with the doctor. After a doctor, you might need medicines, you might need diagnostics, you might need, let's say, other benefits like diet and other, let's say, exercises. And then after enough, none of this problem, if none of this is helping you to get your health problem sorted, you'll get admitted in a hospital. So the reason why MediBuddy continues to be the leader and has been able to sustain as well as scale significantly is because we followed the customer, and all services required by the customer is available on MediBuddy. When you compare to any other platform for that matter, they're strong in one parts of it. Some of them are very strong in medicines, some of them are very strong in diagnostics, but MediBuddy is the only platform where you can access a doctor in online as well as offline. You can do a video call, but let's say all problems we cannot solve online. That means you need to physically book an appointment, go to the hospital. We also run close to 300 clinics. So think like we have physical clinics also available. That means we are providing what we call as omni-channel platform for accessing doctor. You can do online, you can book appointment, go to hospital, you can go to our clinics. After all of this is complete, you can get medicines also delivered to your house. You can get diagnostics done at your house. We'll also help you connect to your insurance in case you have a health insurance policy. So because of few things, right? One, the size and scale of the network. That means you can find all of them pan India. The breadth of services, doctor, labs, pharmacies, diagnostics, including insurance and all of them, is why when a customer comes on our platform, he gets all services under one roof. And it's also a scaled one, which means we are able to support customers across the length and breadth of the country. And that is what has kept us ahead of, let's say, most of the platforms, and which will continue to, we will continue to invest and ensure that we add more services, bring in more hospitals, bring in more doctors from a geography point of view. And that is exactly how we believe we are making our vision successful, or vision come to reality is how do we reach 1 billion people, right? And provide them best quality healthcare. You might start with a small health issue, or you might want to get admitted in a hospital for a surgery. On MediBuddy, you should be able to do all of them under the same umbrella.
What I understand is that
Yes.
doctor consultation is the first part which
Correct.
triggers off your need for other services for healthcare. So would it be correct to say that the doctor consultation is the center of a hub and spoke model which you've created? How are you working on the backward integration, building on the relationship with the doctors and the management of other healthcare parts?
Yeah. No. So Harun, actually correct, right? What you said is true, not just for MediBuddy. It is true for healthcare. How like the first point I made also was, right? How does healthcare start? I have some health issue. I think I have like specific problem. Then I understand I need to like visit a doctor, the right doctor. If it's an eye problem, I need an ophthalmologist. If I have some other issue, I go to the other doctor. That means that's how the reality that's how it happens in a real world in healthcare. You start with the doctor, and it leads to every other benefit or services that you need. And exact replica is what's happening on MediBuddy. Now, what we have done is we have ensured that the transition is seamless. You can talk to a doctor online, offline, clinics, all of them. The prescription that you get is digitized manner. That means it can be utilized very easily to press forward, or if the system itself will automatically make the order for you. And the reports, when it comes back from the diagnostic report, will automatically get rerouted to the doctor, so that everybody is connected or interconnected, and we're also connected into the ABA, right? Everybody has a health ID and it gets connected back. So we have done painstakingly a lot of effort in going city by city, pin code by pin code, like I told, right? We have significant number of diagnostic centers, hospitals, all of them onboarded just for this purpose. So we have a large networking team. We call it, it's an onboarding team, which works with all of these partners to bring them. So today we have like 90,000 doctors, 7,000 hospitals and clinics, 4,000 diagnostic centers, 2,500 pharmacies. So we cover like 97% of India's pin codes. So our total team size today is close to 2,000 people. So a large part of these team members are in the, we have across 20 cities, we have offices. So they are in these big cities. And then from there, they go to all the smaller towns, build the partnership with the hospitals, pharmacies, diagnostic centers, and the contracts are written. And then they're onboarded on MediBuddy. And then that way, whenever a customer is requesting for a doctor or a pharmacy or diagnostics, the right partner is available geographically nearby. So this is what we have built over like last, today we are close to 8 years plus. We launched in 2015. And then, of course, we started with online consultation only. That means you could only talk to a doctor on a video. But since then, we've added service after service after service. And so the network was also backward integrated. And we also track every day, right? Somebody is using the platform, Android app, iOS app, or the web. And when, let's say, he's in a certain location and he's looking for a diagnostic test, and the system throws that, hey, sorry, we have not found a diagnostic center near you in a radius of 10 kilometers, then it also gets a trigger back into the system, right? So all of these are integrated. It's a full technology layer to support the backward integration.
And how many of these 300 clinics that you were talking of, the physical clinics, are owned by MediBuddy, and how many of these are partnered clinics?
Yeah. So fundamentally, how we operate at MediBuddy is we don't own the clinics. Let's say when we work with pharmacies, we don't own the pharmacy. We don't own the diagnostic centers. We work with large partners, but we ensure that we provide the complete software as well as the demand, or customers come through us, and we also provide the software necessary to run them. We also give you the standard operating procedures to operate them. The infrastructure of these clinics are held by somebody else, and then the operations are run through us in the process. So these are provided, and these clinics are primarily in large, we call it captive audiences. It can be a large company, it can be a large manufacturing sector or a manufacturing site, or it can be a large housing society, because there's a lot of people. So the infrastructure is provided by somebody else. So we don't own the clinics, but we operate the clinics across the country.
And apart from setting up the SOPs,
Yes.
one of the paradigm of healthcare today is trying to ensure that we achieve and maintain the quality. And
Yeah, absolutely.
And in terms of not just the quality of a doctor, but the hygiene and non-medical staff, etc. How are you ensuring that the quality is maintained across the centers that you've partnered with?
Yeah. So just like this, right? So we work again with brands at the place. So the doctors as well as the nurses, we also run ambulances with them. So we have close to 90 plus ambulances also that runs under these, let's say, clinic umbrella. So we take support from the best brands in the market as well as the work that they do. So let's say when I work with a diagnostic center, I'm in turn working with a Dr. Lal, a Metropolis, a Suburban. So these are different diagnostic labs at the level, right? When I work with pharmacies, I'm in turn working with a Wellness Forever, a Frank Ross, a different partner who is in turn an expert in that field. And of course, we have in-house clinical, we call it medical operations, clinical quality and medical operations team. And we have a doctor who is heading that one. And she has, our medical operations head actually has a series of doctors who work in-house whose aim is to identify the right SOP, do the quality, and then repeat this every quarterly to ensure that, depending upon the requirement, to ensure that we are maintaining the quality, though it's operated, right? At the end of the day, diagnostic centers operated by a diagnostic center, pharmacies operated by a pharmacy center. Similarly for the clinics. So we take support from the industry, but we ensure that all of them are maintain the highest quality standards, because that's very close to our heart. So fundamentally, like we know, right? I worked before this at Philips Healthcare. I was in the cardiology division at Philips Healthcare, and we were making what we call as cath labs for, like, anybody who gets heart attack. They do an operation called angioplasty. They put a stent in the heart. By the time using a machine called cath lab, and I was in the design of that. So it took. So we understand quality, and I spent a lot of time with doctors inside operation theaters looking at what they do, right? So it's very important for us to ensure quality, and which is what is, let's say, at the heart of like all of these things that we do at MediBuddy. But how can technology enable we providing great quality? See, the conundrum happens, I'll tell you, when I spend traveling across the world to understand healthcare across, let's say, US, you go to Singapore, you go to China, you go to Japan, you go to US, all of them have high quality healthcare. But the constraint is that it is high quality at high cost. In India, what is the problem statement we have is we need high quality healthcare, but we need it at the right cost. It has to be affordable. So that is a problem statement that we have in India. So which is why we keep it at the center of all our decision making. So you need high quality. So you need to find out how to bring it at the right cost, and technology is sort of the enabler to do that. So we take support from the industry. We have an in-house quality team, and then we use technology to ensure that all of them come together to bring high quality at the right cost.
Do you think there is a need for creating regulations specifically in online consultations as well? And if yes, what aspects should be ideally added?
Good. So actually, a couple of things actually have started work. So the telemedicine policy actually has taken care a lot of the guidelines that is needed in this context. Now let's go back and understand what is the need for it, right? We need to ensure that our customer or the patient is always protected. The need for any guideline or a regulation is because the end customer or the consumer should be protected and ensure that he gets the right advice, or let's say the right quality drug at the right price in a way. Yeah, that's why the need for all of this comes. So I think the few policies that has already been in place is quite good. We need to figure out how to, let's call it, execute it across the large companies, as well as ensure that that gets followed rigorously. What we have done is we have taken it upon ourselves to self-regulate, we call it, in a way, which is, though there has been guidelines given, and the mandate is still work in progress. But what we have done is, because in the case of hospitals, there's an accreditation team that comes and does the work for you. But in our case, we are self-regulating, and we are happy to sort of take any more feedback that is coming across from the government. But even before these policies came, in fact, we also supported heavily and also gave feedback as well as suggestions from our side into the policy. But even before that came, we have always kept the customer at the center or quality at the center, and we have taken every action needed to ensure that we onboard the right doctors, we check all the backgrounds. We do like 3-step process, right? We onboard the doctors, we check all their certificates that is needed for them in the process. Then in-house medical operations leader, or we call it HOD. So there's an equivalent of HOD for every department, who's a very senior doctor who will also interact with the incoming doctor and ensure that he is of the right quality and has the right understanding. And then we also do we call it KYC, right? Or in a way, know your customer, but equivalent of a KYC for the doctor also we sort of do. And after all this, only they're onboarded. And after that, we also run a SOP, or essentially training for them to see how, because doctors are very good, right? But we need to also tell them what are the nuances in online consultation, what are the few things that they need to keep an eye out for. So all of this is also taken care in our onboarding that we provide. So all of this is free of cost, right? We don't charge anything for the doctor to do any of this. And then after they're onboarded, they're given regular feedbacks also on what are the customers saying and what is the HOD also looking at it from a quality point of view. So all of this is already sort of ingrained in MediBuddy, but now I think a few of this has been in, or let's say, added in the policy. But as of now, I think we're self-regulating, and which is good. but we need to always ensure that we do the right things for the customer.
Satish, I'm very curious to know when you
Please.
go, because obviously as a company, you want to get the best doctors. And some of these best doctors are very experienced, they're already well known, etc. How
Yeah.
open are they? I mean, and they're also very senior in age.
Correct, correct.
How open are they on online consultations?
No, actually, I mean, very, 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 very good question and very relevant question that sometimes I get asked a lot in the process. So let's go back and understand what is the changes that has happened. So one, let's say these specialist doctors are very busy, which is true, right? Or they're because they're already very famous, they're very busy. Why would they need to look at as an online consultation as a requirement? And what accelerated this adoption? Let's look at both of these viewpoints correctly. So one, see, all of these specialist doctors are busy, but when you really go back and chunk their daily life, very interestingly, doctors are actually very busy between 10 to 1 and 4 to 8. This is reality, right? Because everybody has to travel and come to the hospital. So if you go back and let's say stand beside a doctor and stay with him for 1 week, you'll start understanding that wow, they're very busy between 10 to like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're starting to become busy again like 4 o'clock to maybe 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, right? But there are a few hours before 10 o'clock. Let's say a lot of good doctors will be available, let's say from 8:30 onwards to like 10 o'clock. There are also slots available between 1 to 4. And then, of course, sometimes there's doctors who are okay to do at 8 to 9 also. And all days are not the same for us. If you go back to clinics, you'll understand that Saturdays are very heavy, Mondays are very heavy. But if you think about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're generally very light. Or light means it's lighter than the normal days. That means the number of patients coming is lower. So it also varies based on the dates. So which means there are pockets in a daily life of a specialist doctor, which are still, we call it lean periods. And the doctors are able to sort of then see how I can help more patients. One. Two, what was the reason why these doctors liked coming on platform was most of the customers or patients are always going to be geographically nearby. A doctor was unable to expand his reach. So let's say I'm in Bangalore, can I help all patients in Karnataka? But that's like very far, right? I can go all the way till Bangalore and then help a customer or a patient. And if I'm sitting in Bombay, can I go all the way to like Maharashtra, right? And then help them. And why only Maharashtra? Why can't I help a patient from Rajasthan or from a Delhi? Or I'm sitting in Delhi, why can't I help a patient from Madhya Pradesh? So to second one is one lean period. Second one is they want to help people who are far away from them. Earlier, what used to happen is you will travel 20 kilometers to meet a doctor, but you would not travel more than that, right? But what would a person from an Indore do or a small town do? He can reach a doctor to Delhi or a Bombay very easily on a video call now. So doctors sort of liked it, right? That's also why they have lean periods. They can expand as well as create more impact on a larger geographical distance is one they got it. When COVID happened, they like it or not, customers could not come. Even if you are in the same city, you're 5 kilometers away, you could not come to the hospital, right? So that is when the adoption to technology as well as initial hindrance, right? Everybody will be inertia was broken because of COVID. But once they broke it and they understood it, they actually felt that wow, this works very well, right? Just like I meet a person just like we're doing a video call, right? Otherwise, I would have flown to Delhi or you would have come to Bangalore, and of course we will do it, but we will also do it many times. But a few times we can do a video call, and it's as good today as it can get. So, which is why COVID improved the adoption, and that is why even though it has been, or at least the common idea is that wait, they're very busy. Actually, if you think very carefully, it is not. And they want to expand their reach. They're helping more people at the same time. And then, of course, COVID is helping. So these are the reasons why this has fundamentally changed. And once it changes, no, it is, I think, here to stick around. Yeah. This is what we're seeing also.
And Satish, since this is a conversation around thought leaders, so I want to get your opinion on what is the future of online pharmacies, and where is the regulation headed?
No, actually, see, Harvinder, so let's understand fundamentally, will all businesses have a right mixture of online and offline? Yes, it is going to happen. Now, why is this regulatory tussle, let's call it there, or a friction that is happening? It is because all laws that has been written has been written with whatever information was available, right? If you go 20 years ago, there was no thought about, let's talk about Uber, right? When Uber was growing or Ola was growing, taxi was always there. But a new concept called I can open application. When I press the application, the taxi will come. Uber is not owning the taxi, but Uber is collecting the money and giving the money to taxi, right? So it's actually a technology aggregator as a concept, did not exist before. So that is why a lot of laws find it difficult to fathom what is this new business doing. And hence the tussle starts. This is true for Uber. That fight is always there. This is true for Airbnb, if you understand, right? Then this is true for Flipkart. They told, hey, either you have to be a person who's selling and owning it, or you're not owning it in the process, right? So in a way, all of them have gone through regulatory hurdles. Think about Uber, it went through. Think about Airbnb, it went through. Think about Flipkart, it went through. And today, but why did all of them survive? It was good for the customer because he was able to easily order, it will come to my house and I'm able to deliver in the process, which is exactly the same state that, let's say, the pharma medicines are at today. Existing laws are different, the new law is different. They're asking, are you a pharmacist? But they're saying, no, we are a technology aggregator, the same problem statement. Oh, they're saying, oh, then how will you ensure that quality is maintained? You are not, let's say, creating harm to the patient, or there can be challenges in the ecosystem, which is what being addressed now with the right guidelines. And why will it survive? I will tell you. See, this is a very overarching answer. Details will go into if needed, but it will survive because it's good for the customer. So today, what happens? I will tell you. For my parent who's in a next town, when he's diabetic, I know that he may or may not buy the things correctly. But I sit here, I press the button, I order it, and then it goes correctly to the house, and he continues to take the diabetes medicines for that matter, right? And even if I'm in a big city, I want convenience, so I come to my house rather than I going to a center, or which is what we're doing with food, which is what we're doing with grocery, which is what we're going to do with this. So this is the overarching answer. So the tussle will exist for a finite period of time, and the right things will come through in the regulation, but it is good for the customer, so it is here to stay. There will be a right mixture, right? Will you buy everything that you want online? May not be. Will you buy everything that you want offline? Will not be. Right? It's going to be a omni-channel digital approach, and that is here to stay.
And my last question to you is a usual
Please.
question that I always ask you when I'm having a conversation. What's next at MediBuddy? We have seen the business grow. It started from online consultations and then it has expanded in different aspects of healthcare. What's next?
Yes. Yeah. So I'll see that, I would say, right? So we always keep thinking about this one. What is, so how do we think about this, right? We always follow the customer. I talk to my patients, I talk to my doctors, I talk to my hospitals or pharmacies, diagnostic centers. And then, of course, we look at a lot of data to understand what is the customer wanting, right? So today, what we have done is a lot of basic requirements that was needed by them, we have provided. And our next set of services that we're planning to launch is also clearly based on customer or patient's feedback. New things that's coming up along this direction. We are starting to see that people want a lot of support on, we call it chronic disease management programs, right? So today, of course, you can talk to a diabetologist on our MediBuddy, you can talk to a pediatrician on MediBuddy, you can talk to a, let's say, IVF specialist on MediBuddy. But more and more, what's happening is they want what we call as programs that will help them over a longer period of time. Because when you go to a doctor, it's mostly a episodic event. I meet him once or I meet him 2 times and then I come back. But in the case, what are the areas to be thinking about it? One is think about diabetes, right? How do I help a person over his life cycle? Because once you get diabetes, you can either reduce it, keep it under control, might be reversed, but depending upon the case, right? Maybe it's very difficult to do it. So one, condition management programs around diabetes, weight management, we call it fitness and fitness related one, because people want to sort of, it's more around wellness that we want to think about. Then there's something called as women care. A lot of them, let's say pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, they're all little long-term programs that we need. Maybe with IVF, it's going to be a couple of cycles for a couple of months, or if it's pregnancy, it's going to be like 9 months of work. Then also so all of these are, we call it programs, is one large focus areas that we have, and we'll continue to invest and ensure that it grows very well. Another area that we are deeply working on is mental health. So it's another large, important area. Today, can you talk to a psychologist, psychiatrist? You can definitely. On MediBuddy, you can come episodically talk to them, but a lot of them need a hand holding, right? Over a period of time. Let's say somebody is actually fighting, let's call it depression. It's not a one day, you pop this pill, it will go away. It doesn't work that way, right? You need a hand holding over a period of time. And these are specific programs designed around them. And that is going to be a long-term work. So, which is the new area, which we call as, let's call it wellness and chronic disease management programs is a very large, important focus area because movement to NCDs in India is going to happen, right? More and more people are going to get, of course, earlier we're getting communicable diseases. Now you're going to get like non-communicable diseases like diabetes and all of that. And which is the focus area going forward. And we'll go deep work in each of them and provide a holistic experience for the patient and handhold him right through his daily life to control or keep his diseases under control.
Satish, it has been awesome speaking with you as always, and understanding what MediBuddy's journey has been and what is it that we can look forward to coming from the organization. Thanks for spending time to talk with us at BW Healthcare World.
Thank you, Harbinder. It was always nice talking to you. Thank you for inviting me, and looking forward to meeting you in person also. Thank you.